Okay, this is a demonstration how to use a Two JkMatic Controller and then link it to an external panel so that they can run in one standby mode. So when we look closely at the controller, this one is controller number 1. This is running in a service, whereas this is controller number 2. You can see there is an S here indicating this is doing standby. So what happened is we can make use of the signal output so that we can relay the signal to the external control panel. As shown here, MMF1 is a service, MMF2 is no service, the light is not on. And then at the same time, I have another status indicator for the backwash, which I will show later. As of now, it is still MMF1 doing the service. So now let's start the backwash for the number 1. So immediately we can see the MMF1, the light goes off, MMF2 automatic goes from standby to service. And if you look here, initially there is a S here. The S is gone, indicating that this controller is doing what you call this service. Now controller number 1 is at the rinsing step. After rinsing, it will stay in the standby. As you can see, there is a S here indicating it's standby. So if we look here, MFF2 still in service. Okay, once I press start the manual backwash, yeah, you can see immediately MMF2 is indicate not in service. MMF1 immediately is showing service. You see the S is gone. And then over here is doing backwash step. That's why the backwash pump indicator is on. Now the backwash pump indicator is off because it already moved to the second step, which is the rinse step. So in our case, the rinse step is doesn't require the backwash pump to run. So basically, the controller is communicate with the panel via the signal output. So for each controller, they have 2 signal output. Number 1 is the status. Status means whether they are doing a service or not in service, which is correspondent to these 2. And the second signal is actually during the backwash step, because we have an external backwash pump. After the backwash step, we go to a rinse step. It will go off because rinse doesn't require the backwash pump. We have to make 3 wiring for this kind of application. So number 1 is this is the interlocking cable between the controller 1 and controller 2. So This interlocking cable is enable these two controllers to communicate so that they can synchronize among them, which is doing the service, which is doing the standby. So secondly, we have this contact signal, this contact output signal, which is labeled as S3. S3 is basically the status signal, whether it's service or it's not in service. So when it is service, the signal is open contact. When it is not in service, it is closed contact. So this is correspondent to these two signals. And then the third signal is this one labeled as S1. This is for the backwash pump signal. During the backwash step, we program these S1s to be closed. During the backwash step, this backwash pump indicator will be turned on. This is how the controller is able to communicate with external panel, and this one is how the controller is communicate with another set of controller. So the main purpose is that you make sure that the backwash will not happen at the same time. And the other thing is to differentiate which controller is doing service and which controller is doing the standby. So here at the bottom, the terminal board. So this tree is a single phase incoming power supply. And then this 24P and 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4 is the signal input from the controller. So the first pair of signal, the in one is referred to the status signal from controller 1, which is the S3 port from controller 1. Then the number 2, in 2, is a status signal from controller 2, the S3 port. And then the number 3, in 3, is the backwash signal from controller 1, which is the S1 port. And S4 is the in 4 is the backwash signal from the controller 2, which is the S1 port. And then over there we have this blue color, out 1, 2, and 3. So out 1 basically refer to the MMF1 is in service, it will be in close contact. Out 2 is close contact when MMF2 is in service. Out 3 is closed when the backwash pump is the backwash signal is close contact, which is correspondent to the LED status light. Here we have the solenoid valve. Solenoid valve is a DC 24 volt. Now this valve 1 is energized. When it is energized, it will supply the air to the isolation valve of the MMF1. When it supplies air, the isolation valve will be closed. For MMF1, it is in the standby mode. That's why we have to make sure the isolation valve is closed